Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, the host of We Need to Talk every Sunday at noon on YouTube, and then I post it up to Facebook, so that's Sunday at noon Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern. The views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other therapist for that matter. Boom, shakalaka, done. I would like to thank my sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp. BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. They are an online therapy company. They will set you up with therapists here in the US. They're international, which is awesome. So if you're like at the UK and you cannot get into a therapy place and the waiting list is like 8 to 9 months or a year, which is what I've been hearing, get on to BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez, and they will set you up with a therapist, a licensed professional therapist here in the States. They're all master's level or PhD level. They're all licensed, which is great. So, and I've been getting really good feedback. So that makes me very happy. So thank you to BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. All right, and I'll put that down in the description. Okay, on to the questions. I've got a limited amount of time. Why do abusers play the victim? Oh, because they can. And the question you always want to ask is, what's the payoff? What are they getting out of it? Why are they doing this? And this happens specifically with covert narcissists, although overt narcissists will also, oh, everybody's out to get me. Why don't you all love me? Blah, blah. So they play the victim because there's a payoff. They're getting something out of it. They're either getting sympathy or attention, or the martyr syndrome. You never right, you never cool, nobody loves me, I'm gonna go to the garden and eat slimy hairy worms, feel sorry for me, feel sorry for me, feel sorry for me. So they play the victim for a couple of reasons. One, they're getting something out of it, and two, it's a way to push off attention off of themselves and back on to somebody else. So in other words, if I'm the victim, you wouldn't dare point a finger at me and yell at me or call me out for my behavior or, whatever their particular brand of BS is. So that's why they play the victim. There's always an agenda. There's always a reason. There's always a payoff for them. So they're getting something out of it. So it's either taking them out of the hot seat or it's giving them attention or something. There's something going on. Okay. Why do they use our past against us? Because they're evil. Because they're evil. They're just evil. Healthy, normal people do not do that. What abusers will do is as soon as they start dating, they will start mining you for information. Well, tell me about your family and tell me about your past and what is your most embarrassing moment and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And they may not be that overt about it, but they do start mining you. They'll ask you a ton of questions about your past and they'll want to know who you dated. That's one of the main ones. How many people have you slept with? Well, none of your effing business. Thank you. It is business in that, hey, I'm clean. I don't have any STDs. But other than that, none of your business. You know what I'm saying? But they'll do that. I want to know how many people you slept with. And then lo and behold, months later, once you're in a relationship and they've got their hooks in you, suddenly that comes back to haunt you. Suddenly that's, well, you're a slut, or you're this, or you're a player, or I can't trust you. I need to go through your phone, all of that crap. So they do that as a way to gather information so that they can have power and control at a later date. Healthy, normal people don't do that. Healthy, normal people don't have a need to go through people's phones, especially if there's no reason to. You either trust your partner or you don't. And if you don't, why are you in a relationship with them? So, that's what they do. Okay, and that's why they use our pasts against us, because it's a way to evoke shame. Remember, they look for empaths. They look for normal people that feel. And so if we have a history of shame of any kind, we had shame shoved into our space, we're going to be more susceptible to them going, oh, well, you did this and you did that. And we start feeling this shame, probably from childhood, probably from a childhood wound, and then they start manipulating and controlling and hurting us with that. And they enjoy it. So yeah, if somebody's mining you for your past, and if anybody, and I don't care who they think they are, uses your past against you, be done. Be done. You do not need to stick around for that. If somebody's shaming you for something you did in the past, be done. Healthy, normal people don't do that. How do I learn to trust? Oh, itchy ear. How do I learn to trust my gut? Okay. So abusers, and especially if we were raised in an abusive household, they have taught us to not listen to our gut. They don't want us seeing the dysfunction. So, oh yeah, nope, can't see the pink elephant taking a crap in the corner of the living room. How dare you, kid? Whap. So we learn very quickly to stop listening to our gut because we've gotten into trouble for it every single time. When we've listened to our gut, our abuser would punish us for it. So we stopped listening, which ultimately then harms us because our gut is what's trying to keep us safe. We literally have a second brain in our gut. We have neurons in our gut. And so that's why the gut is responsible for so many things such as depression, anxiety, et cetera, et cetera. If your gut health is not good, your mental health is probably not going to be good either. So our abusers teach us to stop listening to that gut instinct. So we got to go back to the basics. First of all, it's working on self-esteem. It really is, because people who love themselves trust themselves, and it's learning to trust yourself more than anything else. It's learning to trust that gut instinct. So you start small. You start with things that you already know the answer to. So remember, the head tells stories. The heart tells stories. These two guys are, well, yes button, no button, story, 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 story. If you ask your gut a simple question, yes or no answer, it will give you a simple answer, yes or no. Yes, this, or no, that. No story. So if you're hearing story, 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 you're listening to your head or your heart. You're not listening to your gut. So you want to start practicing asking yes or no questions that you already know the answer to. And I've given this example 100,000 times. I'm going to give it 100,000 more until everybody gets it. I don't like peanut butter. I hate peanut butter. Hate it. Hate it. Hated it. I think it's the texture. I just don't like that texture. It's just, bleh. No thank you. But I do love Reese's peanut butter cups. So I will ask my gut, okay, gut, do I like peanut butter? And it's literally like almost this like dry heave kind of sensation. It's like, oh God, no. Okay, gut, do I like Reese's peanut butter cups? Yes. No story. No story. And the feeling is calm. There's not this, well, yes, but, or, well, no, but, or, none of that. So you start small. That's how you start trusting your gut. And then you start expanding that into things that you don't know the answer to. And you notice how you feel. So when I get a no answer, it's a very visceral kind of feeling for me. It's like, oh, hell no. Oh no. Because my whole gut is like clenching up and going, no. So do you see where I'm going with that? And a yes answer is a very calm kind of, yep. There you go. Done. Yeah, so that's what you start doing. Work on self-esteem. So mirror work. Hi, good to see you. Have a great day. I give you permission to trust your intuition. I give you permission to trust your gut. Hugely important because we've had that permission taken away from us. So you've got to let your inner child know it's okay to trust your gut. It's okay to see the pink elephant taking a crap in the corner of the living room. It really is. So that's what you want to start working on. Get with a good trauma therapist and start working on self-esteem. The Self-Esteem Workbook, Glenn Schiraldi, or You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. Both of those books are great. People who love themselves trust themselves. They're not dependent personality disorder. They're not looking for somebody else's approval. They're not codependent. Do you see where I'm going with that? Really, everything boils down to good self-esteem. If you have good self-esteem, you're good to go. You're invincible, basically, because you're not going to put up with stuff. You're not going to believe lies. You're going to trust your gut. Do you see where I'm going with that? So, yeah, work on self-esteem. Can narcissists be codependent too? Good question. There is a school of thought out there that narcissism and codependency are just one end of the spectrum and one end of the spectrum. I don't subscribe to that. But no, I don't think they can, because codependency really, and I talked about this on Sunday, is where you sacrifice yourself in order to make sure somebody else is okay. Narcissists will never go out of their way for anybody else. If there's not a payoff for them, if they don't get something out of it, there is no way on this planet or any other planet that they're going to put themselves out for another human being. Most codependents in abusive relationships, what they find happening, and like I said, I talked about this on Sunday, is that they put themselves out. Well, let me help you do this. Well, let me help you do that. Well, let me make this better. Let me become responsible for your bad moods. Let me ease your bad moods. It's my fault. It's my fault. You know, when I talk about Harley Quinn, you know, at the end of that series where he throws her out the window after she's outdone him, really, you know, and he tells her she ruined it and this, that, and the other thing. And then she was like, oh, I didn't get the joke. Like it was her. So she took it on as her. Narcissists will never do that. They don't ever take responsibility, deserved or otherwise, for anything that they do. They don't have a sincere bone in their body. So no, I don't think that they can truly be codependent. I think they are users and abusers, and they need supply, but that's not codependency. Codependency is when somebody is putting themselves on the back burner and doing everything for everybody else, trying to make sure everybody else is okay so that they can be okay. Narcissists don't care. They don't care. So I hope that answers the question. How does your past inform you as a counselor? Oh, okay, good question. So it informs me a lot. This is the reason I got to become a therapist is because of my history of my family. You know, my dad was severely disordered. He was probably both borderline and narcissistic. And that's kind of what led me into becoming a therapist, because I didn't want anybody to ever have to go through what I went through. Or if they were going through it, I wanted to be the one to, you know, help themselves so that they didn't continue the pattern. So yeah, it's definitely informative. In fact, if you look at most, not all, if you look at most therapists, you will find wounded healers. So in other words, a lot of us have been there, done that, and we became healers, so to speak, in order to help. So because we know what it feels like. And I don't ever want another person to go through what I went through. I really, truly do not. If you are interested in the hows and the whys, you could read my first book, which is What's Wrong with Your Dad? And I talk a little bit about that. My third book, which is coming out soon. I just got the headshots done for it. Thank you, Elaine Kessler. That's called So You Want to Be a Therapist. So that's coming out in the next couple of weeks. So, and it talks about, you know, hey, this is what led me into therapy. This is why I decided to become part of the healing professions. So there is that. So yeah, it absolutely, your past absolutely informs you. Now, the other thing you got to be aware of is that, and I talk about this in this book, I don't think I talked about it in the first book, but in So You Want to Be a Therapist, a lot of abusers are attracted to the healing professions because it's a position of power. And so they like to hurt. They like to harm. They like to, you know, be in power over somebody else. If you're thinking of going and becoming a therapist so you can have power over somebody, please remove yourself from my profession right the bleep now. Seriously. So, yeah. So I do go into great detail in that in this next book. Okay. Do you treat toxic family the same as a toxic romantic relationship? Yes. If you were not related to these abusive people, would you have anything to do with them? And if the answer is no, act accordingly. Get out. Save yourself. Get out of there. You don't deserve to be treated like doo-doo. You just don't. Okay. I hope that answers the question. So yeah, you do treat, and again, a lot of people have a hard time with that because then they're like, but then I'll be alone. And I'm like, but is having to put up with the abuse better than being alone? And usually the answer is no. It's better to be alone. It's better to be alone for the right reasons than with abusers for the wrong reasons. It really is. It's like, honestly, it's like, is it lonely? Well, yeah. And that little bit of beginning, when you clean out your closet, so to speak, and you get rid of toxic family members and toxic relationships and toxic friends and possibly even toxic bosses, toxic romantic relationships, it can feel lonely. But that's just the universe going, work on you. Get back into relationship with you. Get with a good trauma therapist. Work the Self-Esteem Workbook by Glenn Schiraldi. Work on you. Really fix your picker, because our pickers are broken. When we come out of a toxic family and we come out of toxic relationships, if we have not worked on our self-esteem and our boundaries and our deal breakers, we're just going to go right back into another toxic situation, because the little kid's running the show. So also, Inner Child Workbook, Catherine Taylor. Work on that, because you don't want to just be doing the same pattern over and over and over and over again. Life is too short. So you treat toxic family the same way you would a toxic stranger. If you were not related to them, would you have anything to do with them? Would you put up with this? No, you wouldn't. So act accordingly. Kick them to the curb. Give them the boot. Yep, absolutely. That makes me think of that Canadian, it's been years, it's probably 20 years ago. They used to have a Canadian TV show, and I can't remember what it was, but it was a comedy one. It was Boot to the Head, and they had a whole song about boot to the head. That just, I don't know, made me laugh. Anyway, so boot them out. Absolutely. Can you ever co-parent with an abusive ex? Short answer, no. What you're going to be doing is parallel parenting. So in other words, they're not going to honor the rules of your house. In fact, they're honestly going to be doing the polar opposite of whatever you're doing. So you're going to have to undo whatever damage they do when the kids are over at their house. This is why when kids come back to the saner parent's house, they act out, because it's not safe to act out with the crazy parent. It is safe to act out with the sane parent. But you got to nip that behavior in the bud. And it's vital you get those kids therapy. Make sure in your divorce decree that you have the right to get your kids therapy, and that the other spouse can't just keep going, no, 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 no. So if you provide 3 providers, they have to pick one of those 3 providers. You're going to have to put this all in your divorce decree. People don't think about that when they're getting divorced. They're just so focused on getting away, and I don't blame them. They forget the details that are really important. So the details that are really important are times that you exchange the children. What is your custody agreement? Is it 5225? Are you doing 1 week on, 1 week off? Where are you going to exchange at? What are you going to do about holidays? All of these little details have to be worked out, because I can guarantee you, if you are not super specific in your divorce decree, your abuser is going to come back and go, well, that's not in the decree. Well, I didn't give you permission to have them for spring break. So that's why you've got to really work out all the little minutia, and a good attorney will hopefully guide you through that. A bad attorney won't. So, and that's the other thing. You need an attorney. If you're divorcing, and I don't have the book in front of me, Splitting, Bill Eddy, Randy Krieger, get it. It's awesome. If you're divorcing an abuser, they're going to try to find, even years later, things that they can use just to poke at you, just to get under your fingernails, because they're just nasty pieces of work. So can you ever co-parent with them? No. They're always going to want to win. They're always going to want to be right. They're always going to do whatever they can to drive you cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So, yeah. So be prepared. Read Splitting by Bill Eddy and Randy Krieger. Listen to the multitude of videos I have done on divorce and how these people behave in divorces, because they're predictable, unfortunately. And it's sad, because I'll warn clients. I'll say, look, they're going to do X, Y, and Z, and then the client is still in denial, which is deadly. And, oh no, they would never do that. Oh no, they'll never use my child as a pawn. And then they go ahead and do exactly what I said and do use the children as pawns. Listen, guys, I've been doing this for 14 years. I'm not just saying these things just to have something to talk about. These are the things that abusers do. They use children as pawns. They will go back into the divorce decree, and if things are not specific, they'll say, well, that's not in there. I'm not doing it. I'm not giving you the kids this Christmas. I'm taking the taxes. I'm doing, whatever. So you've got to be very specific about financial stuff, vacations, holiday breaks, where you're picking up, how long each parent has them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I know it's a pain in the ass, and I know it's expensive, but in the long run, it's less expensive to get it all settled in the beginning and get it all documented and in the divorce decree than having to go back and petition the courts and have them do the smear campaign, because that's what they do. So even years later, like I said, I had one case where this poor person was drugged back into court every year for 12 years until they finally got a different judge, and the different judge recognized it for what it was and said, we're done. We're done. You're done. No more. We're sticking with this. You're done. So that's a rarity that you find a good judge that knows the games that abusers play. So anyway, so no, you're not ever going to be co-parenting. You will be parallel parenting, because if they know you are the disciplinarian, a lot of times what I see is they'll be the Disneyland mom or dad. Oh, you don't have any rules over here. You don't have to do homework. You don't have to do chores. You don't have to. And then the kid starts going, and I talked about this a few weeks ago, and then the kid starts going, oh, well, I'd rather live over there. Then they get over there, and then suddenly, well, your grades need to be better, and you need to be cleaning the whole house, and you need, the rules change, because that's what abusers do. So that's why it's really important to get the kid into a really good therapist. Absolutely. How do I know I'm not the narcissist? Oh dear, I'm terrified of being the narcissist. I don't want to hurt people I love. Well, that's how you know you're not a narcissist. So I get this a lot. So a lot of people are terrified, especially after they've read Object of My Affection is in My Reflection, Coping with a Narcissist by Raquel Lerner. Excellent book, by the way. If you think you are in a narcissistic relationship, that is the book to start with. The Object of My Affection is in My Reflection, Coping with a Narcissist by Raquel Lerner. So everybody who reads that book goes, oh my God, I'm the narcissist. Take a deep breath, let it out. You're not. You're not. Narcissists are not terrified of being a narcissist. In fact, when confronted with the behavior and being told they're a narcissist, oftentimes they'll be like, yeah, I'm a narcissist. Yeah, I love myself. I think I'm great. They don't understand that narcissism is the polar opposite of self-esteem. They don't love themselves. They don't love anybody. They wouldn't know what love was if it walked up and did the Watusi with them. So narcissists think that being a narcissist is a great thing. They don't understand that that is a death sentence, really, when you think about it. Because they don't love. They don't feel. That's why they get so angry when anyone cries or has an emotion or is happy. They hate it when people have real emotions because they can't feel them. So they resent the hell out of people that can. So yeah, if you're terrified of being a narcissist, you're probably not a narcissist. So it just, yeah. And if you're worried about hurting people, like it really keeps you up at night, you're not a narcissist. Narcissists can do the most heinous, and I do mean heinous, things, especially the dark triads. So the psychopath, the narcissist, and the Machiavellian, the control freak, they can do the most heinous abuse, horrible things, and they will sleep like a baby. Like they have absolutely no moral compunction whatsoever. Like it doesn't bother them that they've said something horrible to someone, or that they've raged at someone, or that they threw somebody under the bus who loved them. It doesn't bother them. They don't have a conscience to bother. So that's your clue that you're not a narcissist if you actually have a conscience. Okay. How much time do I have here? Oh, got a few minutes. How am I doing? Okay. What does it mean, malignant? Malignant means fatal. Malignant means fatal. So basically, when somebody has reached malignancy, like a malignant cancer, malignancy, meaning it's gonna be fatal. They're harming themselves out of harming other people, and they enjoy it, and they're malignant. They're not gonna change, guys. So everything's on a spectrum, and I suspect when the next DSM comes out, whenever that will be, I'm thinking it's gonna be in the next couple of years. So I think everything is going to be on a spectrum, because really everything is on a spectrum. You got traits of, and then it slides down into malignancy, into dark triads. And that's also in personality disorders. Once it starts sliding down, and it gets to the far end of it, all of the personality disorders start overlapping, and you will see traits of all of the personality disorders in that malignant person. So yeah, I mean, there's so much. So malignant means fatal. It means that they're not coming back from it. They don't change. They don't change. Once somebody has reached the point, whether it's borderline or whether it's narcissism, once they have reached the point of enjoying the harming, there's no coming back from that. It's not like they're suddenly going to have an epiphany and suddenly be like, my God, I've been treating people horribly, I need to stop. That's not going to happen. They're going to justify their behavior and they're going to continue because they enjoy it. They get their narcissistic supply out of harming and hurting. So they're not going to change. They're not going to stop. My siblings love drama. Every time I talk to them, they run back and twist everything to my parents. I want to go no contact, but every time in the past that I have, other family members guilt me into talking to them. Ooh, okay. So the signs of a toxic relationship are fear, obligation, and guilt. So fear, obligation, guilt. Fog. So anybody who tries to make you feel guilty for going no contact with somebody who is clearly toxic, that is a toxic relationship. So basically, when you go no contact, you don't need to tell people you're going no contact. You just go no contact. I mean, because you've obviously given, warnings for the last who knows how long. So when you decide not to have somebody toxic in your life, you have the right to not have somebody toxic in your life. And that includes family members. That includes siblings. That includes parents. That includes aunts, uncles, grandparents, even children, because again, when a child sides with the narcissist, sometimes they pick up so many fleas that they then become narcissistic and toxic, and you can't help them. They don't want the help. They won't go to therapy. They won't change. You have the right to go no contact. You have the right to go no contact. So when family members go, oh, but you need to be talking, they're a flying monkey. So flying monkeys are one of two things. They are either people who just don't understand abuse. They don't get it, and they think they're doing the right thing by, oh, come on, talk to them. You can help them, that kind of thing. Or they are minor narcissists themselves. Now, given that the siblings enjoy drama, that says to me that's a family thing. That's a learned behavior. So the whole family must enjoy upset and chaos and drama. At that point, that's when you go, I deserve peace. I deserve happiness. I deserve calm. I deserve serenity. I am not putting up with this anymore. So yeah, you just don't keep talking to them. You be done. You be done. So yeah, absolutely. And then you let the flying monkey know, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be talking to them. You need to stop asking me. And if you ask me again, we're done. And then be done if they ask again. So there is that. Okay, this is going to be the last question. Is it possible for someone with borderline personality disorder to slide back and forth between the different types? So the waif, the hermit, the queen, and the witch. Yes. So the more malignant they are, the more they kind of slide back and forth between those types, depending on what it's getting them. What is their payoff? What are they getting from playing the victim? What are they getting from playing the martyr? What are they getting from harming themselves? What are they getting from controlling? What are they getting from being sadistic? So yeah, the more malignant they are, the more they slide back and forth between the different types to get whatever it is they think they need. So yeah, okay, wait a minute. Are people with traits of narcissistic personality disorder dangerous to be in a relationship with? If they're not getting help, if they're full of themselves and it looks like they're sliding down the spectrum and they're unwilling to work on that, then yeah, they're dangerous. People who are unwilling to work on themselves, period, are not people you want to be in a relationship with, because relationships are all about growth and change and working on yourself and helping your partner helping you. And, narcissists don't do that. So if they're unwilling to work on themselves, if anybody is unwilling to work on themselves once an issue has been brought to the attention, then you want to leave, exit, stage left. Yeah, get out as quickly as you can. Okay, guys, I am out of time. So you guys have a great week. I am not going to do a show this next weekend because we are finally moving all the furniture back in the house. Yay, team. So I'm taking the weekend off so I can get everything back in the house. So, but the week after that will be on how to deal with all of the family wounds, how to heal the parent issue, how to get that handled so that you're not still ruminating in your head at age 90 going, man, I really hate my parents. You know, it's like, no. We need to work on that. So we're going to work on toxic parents. We're going to work on healing the family wounds, the parental wounds. I don't know what I'm going to title it, but it's going to be something along the lines of dealing with the parents. Dealing with the parents. There we go. Dealing with the parents. So that's what we're going to do. All right, kids, have a great week. I will not see you this Sunday, but I will see you next Sunday dealing with the parents. All right, have a great time. Talk to you later. Bye.